How childbirth worked in the Middle Ages was shaped by fear, faith, and uncertainty. Giving birth was not seen as a medical event. It was a dangerous passage, one that many women did not survive. Pregnancy itself was risky. There were no prenatal checks, no understanding of complications. A woman might feel something was wrong, but she could not explain it, and no one could help her prepare. Childbirth usually happened at home, never in hospitals. Hospitals were places for the poor and dying. Birth belonged to women. Men were kept away. The room was closed. Windows were covered. Light was dim. The space was made warm. Too much air was believed to weaken the mother. Midwives led everything. They were not formally trained. Their knowledge came from experience, from watching births, from surviving them. Midwives were respected and feared. They carried responsibility. If the mother lived, they were praised. If she died, suspicion followed. They knew practical things, how to position the body, how to encourage pushing, how to cut the cord. But they did not understand anatomy. They could not see inside the body. Birth was painful, extremely painful. There was no pain relief, no anesthesia. Women screamed, they cried, they prayed. Pain was expected. It was believed to be punishment, the result of Eve's sin. Enduring pain was seen as righteous. Women were told suffering was natural, necessary, proof of faith. Women often gave birth sitting upright, on birthing stools. Gravity mattered. The body was encouraged to open naturally. Other women surrounded the mother, holding her, supporting her, praying aloud. Childbirth was communal. Private suffering did not exist. Amulets were used. Prayers were spoken repeatedly. Holy words were written and placed near the body. Relics were brought into the room. Saints were called upon, especially saints associated with childbirth. Faith was protection. If labor was long, fear grew. A difficult birth meant danger. The baby could die. The mother could die, or both. Midwives tried to help. They massaged the belly. They repositioned the child by hand, sometimes causing injury. But doing nothing felt worse. If the baby was stuck, options were limited. There were no safe surgical solutions. Cesarean sections were rare and almost always fatal for the mother. They were performed only if death was certain. To save the child's soul through baptism, the mother's life was already considered lost. Bleeding was common. Uncontrolled bleeding meant death. There were no transfusions, no understanding of shock. A woman could seem fine, then suddenly weaken, then fade. Infection followed many births. Hands were not sterile. Cloths were reused. Instruments were rarely cleaned properly. Fever after childbirth was feared, often fatal. Many women survived birth, but were left weakened. Their bodies changed permanently. Pain lingered. Complications remained untreated. Surviving childbirth once did not mean safety later. Each pregnancy carried risk. Women gave birth many times, out of necessity, out of lack of choice. Children died often, so more were born. Life demanded it. Childbirth shaped women's lives completely, from youth to death. They lived knowing each birth could be the last. This knowledge shaped how they loved, how they prayed, how they endured. Birth was not joyful anticipation. It was fear mixed with hope, a gamble, a moment where life and death stood close, and every woman knew it. After birth, danger did not end. For many women it had only begun. The hours following delivery were often the most deadly. Bleeding could continue, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. There was no way to stop it. Midwives applied cloths, pressed hands against the body, prayed. If bleeding did not stop, death followed. Post-birth infection was common. Hands were unclean, water was unsafe, cloths were reused. Fever appeared days later. Weakness followed. Delirium came. Many women died not in childbirth, but afterward. Childbed fever was feared. Once it appeared, survival was unlikely. There was no cure, only waiting and prayer. If the mother survived, attention turned to the child. Newborns were fragile. Many were born weak. Cold was dangerous, so babies were wrapped tightly, swaddled to restrict movement. Warmth mattered more than comfort. Breastfeeding began immediately if possible. If the mother died, another woman might nurse the child. Wet nurses were common among the wealthy. Among the poor, survival depended on neighbors. Infant mortality was high. Many babies died within days, others within weeks. Parents expected loss. They named children quickly. Baptism was urgent. If a child died unbaptized, fear followed. The soul mattered more than the body. Mothers bonded deeply, but cautiously. Love existed alongside fear. Too much attachment was painful. Women learned to protect their hearts. Recovery was slow. Women returned to work quickly. Rest was a luxury. Fields waited. Homes needed care. There was no long healing period. Pain was endured silently. Complications remained untreated. Incontinence, infection, chronic pain. These became part of life. Some women were left infertile. Others became weaker with each birth. Old age came early. Childbirth shaped the female body permanently. Midwives continued care when possible. They checked bleeding, offered herbal remedies, gave advice. But limits remained. Their power was knowledge, not control. Religious rituals followed survival. Thanks were given. Vows were made. Women promised devotion in exchange for life. Survival felt like mercy, not chance. Community support mattered. Women helped women. They shared experience, warnings, stories of births gone wrong. Knowledge passed quietly. From body to body, from generation to generation, men rarely spoke of childbirth. They feared it. They lost wives, sisters, daughters. Childbirth was a shadow over families. Marriage meant accepting risk. Every pregnancy was a question. Would she survive this time? Women knew this truth. They lived with it. They feared birth and faced it anyway. Because life demanded continuation, because survival required it, because there was no alternative. Childbirth in the Middle Ages was not hopeful. It was brave. It was endured. It was faced with faith, fear, and strength. Every living child carried the memory of risk. Every surviving mother carried scars, seen and unseen.